Okay, let's finish off today with example 2, a bit of BOMDAS. It's been a while since we've done BOMDAS. So example 2, the doing word, the verb is to evaluate, which means to work out. So remember when we did BOMDAS or BOMDASA, because technically you multiply and divide left to right and you add and subtract left to right. In terms of square roots, the O is where squares and square roots happen. Yeah, so you always do brackets first, and then you do any squares, powers, square roots, and then you do your multiplying and dividing left to right, and then you do your adding and subtracting left to right. So say, for example, A, we have 3 squared minus square root of 9 plus 1 squared. Okay? So first of all, do your, are there brackets? No, so leave it alone, so we don't have to do that. Next, we need to look at, are there powers and square roots? If so, let's do them. So 3 squared is 9, because 3 times 3 is 9, minus square root of 9. What times itself? What squared is 9? 3. So square root of 9 is 3, plus 1 squared. So 1 times 1 is 1. And then you add and subtract left to right. So 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 plus 1, which gives us 7. Okay? And then part B, we have the square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared. One thing you need to be careful of. If I'm square rooting everything, you need to put a square root sign over all your numbers, right? Say you want to work out the square root of 1,600. It is not okay to only hang your square root halfway through a number. That is not good, because you're not trying to figure out the square root of 16 and then add 2 zeros at the end. That is not good. So make sure when you write the square root symbol, it's square root over the whole number as well, okay? So this is good, this is bad. Okay, make sure you write the tail end as well. So we want the square root of all of 8 squared plus 6 squared, okay? So first, let's work out the squares inside the square root. So 8 squared is 64, because 8 times 8 is 64. 6 squared is 6 times 6, 36. Now, inside the square root, you do it inside. So 64 plus 36 gives you 100. Then you square root 100, which is 10. Another thing you need to be careful of, so exclamation mark, because this is a common mistake in student exams, square root of the sum or subtraction of 2 numbers inside it is not the same as splitting them up individually. Please do not do that. Do the sum or subtraction inside the square root first, and then a square root your answer. Please do not split up your square roots. Okay, you get the wrong answer and it's wrong. Okay, so you cannot split a square root sum, and you cannot split a subtraction sum. So you got to add and subtract inside the square root first, and then you square root that result. So be careful on the exam.